October 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis. What happened? How did the crisis develop? Why is it a significant event? That was one of the writing assignments in Professor Derek Shanahan's class a couple of years ago. It also served as a lesson in plagiarism for his current students.
When they were talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis, they talked about how we overcame the Cuban Missile Crisis. And again, many students went to the same websites, and one of them gave them a little phrase, and there was almost a nuclear war, but then cooler heads prevailed.
Remember that phrase, cooler heads prevailed? Google Cuban Missile Crisis and you'll find dozens of articles using that phrase, but none of the students put it in quotes or cited the source.
Cooler heads prevailed. That's a nice phrase. I like that. It rolled off the tongue. And then everybody's doing it, and then I go and find it on a website. It's plagiarism, ladies and gentlemen. You can't do that.
Plagiarism is when you use somebody else's ideas or writing as if they were your own. When you capture something off the internet and you write it in a paper and you don't document it properly or you don't say what source it came from, that's plagiarism.
If they're not your words and ideas, you have to identify whose they are and where you found them.
Plagiarism can be as little as using 3 words that you stole from somebody else, okay, without citing it.
Academic integrity. If you cheat, you will be caught. Remember, I used to be a cop. I'll get you. Take the F.
Professor Bennett teaches courses in justice at American University in Washington, D.C.
Usually, night before the paper's due, you go, oh my God, I gotta do the pay for it. And so you go to the web and you start pulling down stuff. I think a lot of the plagiarism takes place for students who are waiting till the paper is due and then panicking.
For a faculty member like myself, I've been teaching writing for years. It's very easy for me to detect when something sounds very different in tone than the rest of the writing. So it's pretty easy to see that it came from somewhere else.
In my own personal experience, I read a student's paper where the vocabulary seemed a little more sophisticated than what a typical college student would use. All I had to do was Google a phrase from one sentence, and the entire paper came up, and all she had done was created her own introduction and her own conclusion. The entire body of the paper was cut and paste from one source on the internet, and I literally found it in 3 seconds.
These professors have been teaching this forever. They have seen it all. Nothing is going to surprise them. They've read up on the literature, they know the sources, they know the sites, they know the internet sites. You're not going to get one past them.
Plagiarism. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it isn't.
Students oftentimes, I believe, don't realize they're plagiarizing when they are.
Part of our goal is to train them to think about what is plagiarism.
Professor Lori Weintraub teaches history at Wagner College in New York City.
They can paraphrase something, but they still have to cite it. And if they borrow a really elegant word from a text, even if it's just one word, that there has to be a citation.
Just be sure that I know that you're not trying to slide something by me as your own work when it's not. And there's nothing better than a nicely found quote. It shows you've read the source and you put it in a nice place in your paper. It makes the paper really nice to read, and it's a great thing to do. It's a bit of an art.
So just, guys, please, look around you. There'll be 1 or 2 people in this classroom who will plagiarize, and I'll find you.
Your profs are serious about this, so here's how to stay out of trouble. If they're not your words or ideas, you must identify whose they are and where you found them. It's a simple enough concept. Practically speaking, here's what it means. 1. When you use someone's exact words from a speech or interview you heard or read, put quotation marks around the words. Identify the speaker and the source. The source may be a book or journal, a website or other internet resource such as a podcast or blog. The source may be a guest lecture you attended on campus, a radio or television program, a newspaper, magazine, or some other source. 2. When you use the exact words from a textbook, a novel, magazine article, a newspaper, again, put quotation marks around the words. Identify the author and identify the source, where you found the words. 3. When you paraphrase someone else's words or ideas, Document it. Identify whose idea it is and identify the source where you found it.